The Lasers and Croatia. I'm John Metcalf. Tonight with me, Mario and Anselmo. Mario, what's the senior league been like this year?
John, it's pretty hard to tell. Like a lot of these teams, there's some younger teams in the league, and they've only been around maybe 1 or 2 years. And it seems that the experienced team like Pat and Mario, they're the ones that are leading the league.
Okay, right now, Kuznik with the ball for Croatia Adria. Croatia Adria sporting no less than 4 players from last year's Ontario Soccer League entry, the Sudbury United, who unfortunately folded over the winter. I don't see any familiar faces on the Nickel City Laser side, so certainly that influx of experience has certainly helped Croatia Adria, I assume.
They have. I think they're in 2nd or 3rd place.
Quick whistle there by the referee. Referee tonight, Tony Gallick, with Joe Nero and Ahel Zared on the sidelines. Of course, it's interesting to see the officiating we have here in Sudbury and how we can compare it to the world after all the things we've seen in the World Cup.
After what I've seen, I don't think we have that bad of a referees.
Ball's cleared out by Brent Salem and flicked out into touch by the Nickel City Lasers. We'll get to the World Cup as the course of the telecast goes on. Frank Kuznik with the throw-in for Croatia Adria. Kuznik trying to get the ball. And a little over-aggressive. The referee calls a foul on him, and as a result, the Nickel City Lasers will have the free kick. Certainly an interesting night for soccer. It looks like it's going to rain any time. It's been a rather hot and humid day as the ball goes forward. Number 20 for the Nickel City Lasers, Roberto Borello, tried to get into it, but number 4, Marizo Presot for Croatia Adria knocked into touch, and we'll have our first corner kick of the game to Nickel City. Dave Ledger in the net for the Croatia Adria. He was the backup keeper for the United last year, so he gained some valuable experience there. He played about 5 or 6 games. As the ball comes across and headed out of harm's way by Brent Salem, put back in by number 18, Ian Fricker. It's into touch, and we'll have a goal kick. To my understanding right now, Elliott Lake United are still leading the Sudbury Regional Soccer Association senior men's standings. From talking to Bob Segsworth, the manager of Pat Mario's keeps tying and Elliott Lake keeps winning. But they have played once so far, and Elliott Lake United Pat Mario's defeat Elliott Lake United 2-0 on Sunday, Canada Day. Bit of a scrum situation in the midfield area. No one really gaining possession at all. Number 8, Adrian Belzo with it for Adria. He'll send it back out to the far side. Number 13 loses it, Tony Orser. And number 16 for Nickel City, Michael Dorr with it. Dorr still playing with it on that far side, looking to get free. But number 13, Tony Orser with it. And Brent Salem loses it for Adria, and it goes into touch off the foot of number 7, Emil Malvaso. Certainly a young-looking team out there for Nickel City, Mario.
Well, I think both teams are very young, and you can tell by some of the plays that they're making. They're rushing. They're not really bringing the ball down and looking up and looking for that pass upfield.
So ball's down the sideline, knocked into touch. Orser trying to get a little control, a little something going on the sides. No one's really established anything in that midfield area, although we're very early at this point. Ball flicked ahead by Zvonko Vukovic, but knocked into the middle by Nickel City. Headed forward, number 8, Dallas Datilio with the ball. He's being hounded by direction. The ball is passed. And Dallas Datilio's shot goes wide. Certainly a decent scoring chance for Nickel City there.
Definitely. He had time to take on the men, but he overran the ball there on that play. I think if he wouldn't have been excited a bit, he might have had a good chance on goal.
Certainly, it seems no different at this level than the level of play we've been seeing at Italy. They miss those chances as well.
Does it make any difference what level you play at? You're going to miss as many chances as any other league. Definitely, the World Cup players don't miss as many. And but they're not afraid to take the chances and have a shot because they're not worried. If they take 5 or 6 shots, one of them is bound to go in. Here,
certainly that is true. Frank Kuznik's with the ball for Croatia Adria. He puts in the middle, but Zvonko Vukovic offside. Speaking of the offside rule, FIFA apparently at the Congress at the World Cup is going to loosen things up a bit, from what I understand.
well, the thing is, from what I understand, that what they're going to do is, even if you're level, you're going to be considered onside, starting, I guess, in the immediate future. The thing is, they were calling a lot of the offsides which were non-existent. They were letting some go which were blatantly offside.
So that should make for a more interesting situation, and certainly more exciting, might lead to a little more offense.
I don't think so. I think it's just going to create just as many problems as you have now. It's going to be actually that much tougher to call the offside.
So the linesmen will be on the spot.
A lot more than they were up to now.
It seems officials are on the spot everywhere, so what can you do? Dave Ledger with the ball for Croatia Adria on the goal kick, sending it up the middle. Ball over to Frank Kuznik. Kuznik looking for Vukovic, but he can't do it. Mike Svilina with the ball in the middle. Svilina dribbling around, sends over that far side. Back into Vukovic in the middle. Number 8, Adrian Belzo with the ball. Kresho Sevenak with the ball, and the keeper, Aaron Brownlee, dives on it for Nickel City, and he'll boot it out of touch. Correction, into the middle. Didn't take too long for an offside to be established there by Nickel City. We've got an offside apiece on both sides. Interesting watching the telecast on TSN, seeing how baseball, or a sport like baseball, has stats coming out of years galore. Soccer even has 4 or 5 things that they do keep track of: the shots, offsides, penalties, fouls against, etc. So it's not a dull sport as people say.
Well, the thing is, you know, the American and the Canadian public has not been, you know, subjected to watching soccer at that level, and that's why a lot of them say, well, it's a dull sport, because they're basically used to watching the local leagues. But at the World Cup level, it definitely is not boring. They're looking at the, you know, the last 40 games, you know.
That corner kick from Kresho Sevenak for Croatia Adria goes safely into Brownlee's hands, and he boots it out ahead. We've had one correction. Zvonko Vukovic is onside, and he rattles one just wide. I think he could have gone a little further with the dribble before he drilled that.
Well, Zvonko, as far as I remember, last year for Sudbury United, he was playing fullback position. Now all of a sudden he's a center forward, so it's pretty hard to change positions.
Certainly an adjustment, obviously. As I said, 5 or 6 I count on the field right now for Croatia Adria, who played for that Sudbury United entry last year, and they gained a valuable experience. It was a good league for them. It was a shame that the United did fold. A little extracurricular push from number 13, Torny Orser, and as a result, the foul is called, and Nickel City will have the free kick. Throughout this telecast, we'll talk a bit about the World Cup. Of course, it's the focus of the world stage right now, so you can't argue with it. And I'm definitely going to put you on the spot a little later, Mario, with a prediction for Sunday's final.
Sure. I'm always ready to put my head on the block.
Head on the block. Nickel City with the ball in the middle, sending it forward. It's intercepted by Orser. Orser doing a solid job in that back line. Number 17, Steve Katchen with it for Nickel City, but it's booted right back in the middle. Orser can't get to it, and number 4, the fullback, Maurizio Pressat, sends it forward. Frank Kuznik going after the ball for Adria, and the Lasers will safely send it back to the keeper. I guess we don't have those teams of fans like they do in Europe that whistle at that play rather incessantly, I think we could say.
I think there's more players on the field than there is spectators tonight, so they wouldn't make much of a noise.
Zvonko Vukovic going after the ball. It's ruled play on, and Brownlee, his cap flying, grabs the ball. Severnak trying to gain control of that ball in the middle. No one's really established anything territorial so far as Nickel City sends it down the offensive zone. Melvaso, a little extra push there, and as a result, the free kick goes to Croatia Adria. Brent Salem will perform the chore as he sends it screaming down the middle. Number 22, George Carlos. I'm not sure who got the worst of that blow, George Carlos or number 14, Steve Simon, but Simon is the one.
22 was the one who committed the actual foul, and he got the worst of it. A lot of times there is justice.
He definitely and, paid for it.
You know, I think maybe the referee was a little lenient. They could have easily given him a yellow card.
Certainly in Europe, we've seen people booked for that offense.
Or less.
As FIFA has or dictated that fouls like that had to be booked.
Well, the thing is, you want to protect the players that are going to draw the crowds, the guys that can handle the ball and move it around. You don't want some guy going in and seriously injuring somebody.
Mario Grassi sends it forward for Nickel City. Number 20 with the ball. A whistle handball, I believe, on Nickel City, and as a result, it'll be turned over. Tony Gallick's whistle struck a different pitch there, so I wasn't quite sure what was happening. Ball's back to the keeper, Dave Ledger. Ledger will send it forward. Melvaso gets a hold of it in the middle there. Belso, sends it forward. Croatia Adria trying to penetrate. Carlos with it. Carlos under control with a bit of a scissor kick. Vukovic can't get a hold of it, and Brownlee comes in. Number 18, Brent Salem with the ball now for Croatia Adria. Sends it over to Belso. Belso back to Salem. Salem with it, coming down that left side, sending it forward, looking for Carlos, but ball wasn't quite quick enough, and as a result, Brownlee will have it for the goal kick. Two players go up of it, and no one gets it. As a result, Brent Salem sends it in the middle to Belso. Belso with it. Belso dribbling forward for Krešo Severnak. Severnak with it. Tries to send it forward. He's still controlled it, but it's picked up by the Nickel City Laters. Steve Kachin with it. Kachin over to Dallas Detilio. Detilio sending it forward, looking for Melvaso. Melvaso can't do much, and it's sent back to keeper Dave Ledger. So far, has the World Cup gone to what you expected, Mario?
Well, actually, I had picked, in the last four, I had picked Brazil to be in there rather than Argentina, and Holland rather than England. The other two I had picked to be in the Final Four. And my prediction had been Italy and West Germany in the final, but I guess I'm only half right.
You're only half right. Well, when I looked at the beginning, I just said West Germany was going to win. I didn't say who the Final Four was going to be. I certainly think that some teams disappointed, but certainly some teams, such as Cameroon, were definitely pleasant surprises, and as a result, Africa is rewarded with an extra spot when the World Cup comes to the United States in 1994, as Krešo Severnak has the ball in the middle to Belso. Belso moving around with it. Mike Svalina with the ball, and the keeper gets the ball, Aaron Brownlee, and he'll kick it away. The offside flag was up, but I believe it was too late for anything to be done, and as a result, play was let go. Pressot sends it back to Dave Ledger. Ledger wheels it out. Belso with it into Mike Svalina. Svalina with the ball now, sending it forward, looking for Zvonko Vukovic. The flag goes up. That's about the fourth offside now on Croatia Adria. Certainly looking to get that long ball forward, and Zvonko run under it. Zvonko's got the legs to do it. Grassi sends it over to Kachin. Kachin with it now in the backfield for the Lasers. He'll go into touch, and it'll be Nickel City ball. Ball thrown forward, and the offside flag goes up. Or correction, I guess the linesman was helping out the referee by calling a foul. I'm not quite sure, but Nickel City will end up with the ball.
I think he called pushing on the fullback.
Number 13, Tony Orser.
Number 12.
Emil Anselmo will perform the kick for Nickel City as he sends it back to Kachin. Kachin can't do it and loses control. Svalina sends it forward looking for Carlos. Carlos with the ball. Slides it away, but it looks like Brownlee will come out to make the play. If he had a little more control on that, he might have had something from that play.
Well, he did the right thing. He put it past the players, but I pushed it a little bit too hard for him to really have a chance on getting it back.
Definitely true, and as a result, Nickel City clears it into touch, and it will be Croatia Adria ball. Just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, if you happen to be doing nothing in particular this Saturday afternoon, Ontario Cup 4th round action will be here at Queen's Athletic Field at 12 noon. Pat Mario's will be hosting a team from Toronto in the 4th round. That's as far as they got last year when they lost to eventual Ontario Cup and national champion Scarborough, Missouri, a team that incidentally Sudbury United tied up here 1-1 during regular season play last year.
And also speaking of Ontario Cup, there's two other games on Saturday. 11 o'clock, the under-13 city representative is playing the Ontario Cup game at Little Creek, and at 1 o'clock there's the under-14 playing in the Ontario Cup.
So there you go, some Ontario Cup soccer in and around the Sudbury area this Saturday afternoon. If you're not doing too much, certainly an opportunity to get out and watch some of the boys as they move up through the ranks. Nickel City will have the throw-in. Number 12, Sean Poland, will perform the chores as he sends it across. And I believe Kresho Severnak headed it out of bounds for Croatia Adria, so the Lasers will do it again. Ball's coming in again from Poland as Frank Kuznik sends it forward. Everyone moving up. Adria looking to get the offside. There's going to be, and the flag is up there. That time Nickel City got caught for their first offside of the game, I do believe.
Yeah, definitely. Number 12 was caught offside. He was a little late coming out when Croatian tried their offside trap.
Orser with the ball. Back up to Carlos. Carlos now looking as Orser breaks up there, but Kachin sends it into touch, breaking up. A good piece of defensive work there by Kachin. Salem will throw it in, sends it forward. Carlos can't get a hold of it. It's sent back. Orser with it, back to Salem. Salem in the middle to Severnak. Severnak with it again. Severnak sends it up to Salem. Salem to Belso. Belso, it's over to Mike Svalina. Carlos with it, but it's cleared out by Nickel City. Orser with the ball, keeps control of it. And definite foul there on number 16. Michael Dorr, a little quick shove there, and ball moves in. Svanko Vukovic tries to get a hold of it. Mike Svalina with the ball now. Goes into touch, and it will be turned over to Nickel City. What teams are playing? Is it a regional all-star team playing in the under-13 and under-14 situation?
No, what basically has happened this year is the Sudbury League has combined forces with the competitive league and have formed one group, and we were able to form 4 representative teams, under 13, under 14, under 11, and under 12, and all 4 are actually playing Ontario Cup this Saturday, but 2 of them are playing out of town. So that's basically, and they're playing, most of these kids, even though they're all their appropriate age group, they're playing in a higher age division under, like for example, the under 14 is playing in the 15 and 16-year-old league, and the under 13 is playing in the 14-year-old league, so and so on. I think that, because you do have the better players in that age group, you don't want them playing against their own age level, because I think they're a little bit too that much better than their age level.
Well, that certainly should serve them well as they go into the Ontario Cup play, as we had a foul there on Nickel City, and as a result, Croatia Adria will set up on the free kick.
It's an indirect from inside the area.
Obviously a foul, not serious enough to send the Adria to the spot. So as a result, the indirect, they'll have to make a play. Brent Salem and Mike Svalina working things out on how they're going to perform this set play. Obviously something they worked on in practice. With the wall set up, Brent Salem sends it over, and no one was there in time, and as a result, the ball goes for a goal kick. Certainly a nice attempt by Croatia to set something up there.
Oh, I think probably would have been better off to have somebody running in from the back, pushing it back and having a shot, rather than just, you know, doing curving it towards the net. There's no way that anybody's going to be able to get those balls.
We're going to have 3 subs now for Nickel City. Number 11, Joey Hayes. Number 21, Danny Giroux. And number 23, Min Nagian are now into the match. They replace number 7, Emil Anselmo. Number 3, Mark Gregoroni.
It's Emil
Malvasso, I'm sorry.
Please.
And number 12, Sean Poland.
I thought I just inherited
Adopted a new son, eh? I do apologize to Emil and to you for that one, Mario, as that goal kick doesn't work out for Nickel City, and Croatia will have the ball inside the Nickel City half. Mike Svalina with the throw-in, over to Severnak, Severnak over to Kuznik, Kuznik into the middle, and Brownlee comes up with the ball and gets his hat back graciously from George Carlos. Goaltenders are always that different breed of cat, and no matter what game you look at. Ball sent into the middle to Giroux. Giroux with it, sending it over to number 20, Borello. Borello over to Nagian.
23.
Nagian. And Mike Svalina ends up with the ball. Svalina to Belso. Belso back to Svalina. And an inadvertent handball on number 18, Ian Fricker. Certainly the pace of the senior league is a step down for some of these players who did play in the OSL last year. So as I said, that experience will serve them well as Frank Kuznik goes after the ball, but Fricker ends up with it. Fricker loses it to Kuznik. Kuznik chips it forward looking for Belso. Belso sends the nice cross, and it's cleared out by Nickel City. Nice attempt there by Belso. Foul on Brent Salem. And Nickel City will play it on the free kick. Into the middle, Belso picks it up for Croatia and sends it forward, where it's sent back by Steve Simon to Aaron Brownlee, the keeper, who sends it back out. In the middle, to Mario Grassi. Grassi working with it. Over to Michael Dorr. Michael Dorr fighting with Belso for that. Sent forward and sent into touch by Marizo Pressat. Throw-in is ruled. I think the linesman had a flag up, but the throw-in is what ends up being the result. As the ball's in the middle to Giroux. Giroux with it. And Mike Svalina with the foul, and as a result, Nickel City will set up on the indirect just outside the area.
That was definitely, a foul, and if it would have been in the World Cup, it probably could have resulted in a yellow card because they're quite strict. I guess Mr. Gallic doesn't think that at this level that it was that severe that they should have resulted in a yellow card.
Certainly, it's interesting, some of the commentary out of the governing body of soccer, FIFA, where you have the president saying that he thought the officials were doing a good job, and the Secretary General blasting them for not doing a good job. So it kind of makes things difficult as the ball on the indirect is sent over the net, and it'll be a goal kick. it's kind of difficult for the officials to know what to do when they're damned by one person and praised by another in the press, no less.
Well, basically, what FIFA has to do is get together and decide exactly, how the referees are doing, and then make a statement rather than probably individually, the two gentlemen, made the decision one way and the other. But overall, I think the refereeing has been very good in the World Cup. There has been a few exceptions, but, that's always the case on a long, 50 games so far.
And 2 more to go to make a complete slate of 52 as Felina sends it forward and Brownlee comes up with it. Certainly some of the debates we've heard on TSN the last few days about whether to decide semifinals with penalty kicks, etc., makes for interesting debate, but nonetheless the 2 teams that are in the final are going to get there as George Carlos's attempt just goes wide. A nice play by Croatia Adria to set up that attempt.
No matter what format they're going to use, you're always going to have teams and individuals not liking it because maybe it didn't go their way. The thing is, the format is there. Everybody knows beforehand, so you have to go accordingly. And some of the teams played badly early on, and they're playing good now, and that's why they've made it to the final. Other teams, they played great in the preliminaries, and now they're starting to fall by the wayside.
Well, certainly England was wildly sorely criticized coming into today's match, where they were accused of playing lackluster soccer. Everyone says today was by far their best match of the tournament, and they're playing for the 3rd place on Saturday. As Nagian has the ball, gets it back, sends it forward for Detilio. Detilio catches up with it, keeps it in touch. Detilio still with the ball. Detilio coming into the middle. It's over to Hayes. Hayes with the ball now, battling Felina, and it's off the Nickel City Lasers, and Croatia Adria puts it into play quickly, back into touch. Frank Kuznik on the throw-in, sends it forward looking for Zvonko Vukovic. Vukovic gets inside his man. I'm not sure. Definitely the linesman made the call on that one, and it looks like...
Well, it was a definite trip. Zvonko was starting to pull away from the defensive player, and I guess he decided...
He had no real option but to bring him down in some form, but once again, in Italy, we've seen a little acting, and there's no exception in any soccer league, I don't think, looking for fouls and whatnot.
Well, maybe in a World Cup situation, they should start using the videos to see if the players are actually being tripped or they're taking dives, which over the course of the summer it has been proven that there's quite a few of them, especially some of the Argentinian players.
Well, definitely, and one of those gentlemen who has dove a little too much will not be playing in that final on Sunday. As Brent Salem sends the ball forward, Aaron Brownlee comes up with it. Ball sent out. Belso ends up with it. But it's taken away by Dorr. Dorr with it coming down the side. He's being marked by Brent Salem. Salem and Dorr fighting out, and Salem ends up with the ball. Dorr takes it right back. Dorr puts it into the middle. Belso with it now. Belso fighting off Giroux and sends it up to Salem. Salem is sending it down the side. And Nickel City will take over there. Grossi sends it forward, but it's sent back to Dave Ledger, and Ledger will give it the boot. Frank Kuznik ends up with it, goes off him to Nagian. Nagian loses control as well. Zvonko Vukovic looking for the ball. Vukovic battling for it. Nagian ends up with it. And number 20, Roberto Borello, was offside. Is the offside rule is now not difficult enough to call, Mario?
Well, I think it is, and I think by just changing it to the fact that he's level with the players rather than behind them is going to make it just as difficult. Actually, it hasn't really solved the problem,
Nagian with the throw-in. and I believe it's a violation on that throw-in, and as a result it will be turned over to Adria. Kresho-Severnak throwing it in. Frank Kuznik with it. Nagian picks it off. It's in the middle to Hayes. Hayes sends it forward. Hayes back with it now for Nickel City. Hayes still working around. Kresho-Severnak with the aggressive sliding tackle. It's sent forward to Frank Kuznik. Kuznik with the ball. With Fricker on him, I believe it is. Fricker and Kuznik battling it out. It's sent in the middle to Svanko Vukovic, and Mike Svalina tries to save it, but it was in the touch. We'll have a substitution now for Croatia Adria. Number 17, Amit Garg, will now enter the match. It looks like he's going to replace number 22, George Carlos. And also coming back in for Nickel City, number 7, Emil Melvaso will be coming back in. Melvaso replaces number 20, Roberto Borello. This is one thing that you don't see in World Cup soccer. I think we've seen 6 substitutions already, and if I'm not mistaken, internationally it's only 3 aside for the game, is it not?
Well, it's only 2 substitutions in international soccer.
So there we go, even less.
Well, the thing is, I think FIFA is starting to realize that at today's level, you know, running for 90 minutes, it's almost impossible for some of these players, even though they're in fantastic shape.
Frank Kuznik fires. A handball is called, and it will go to Croatia Adria, who will set up for the indirect.
I think they should, my opinion is FIFA should have either unlimited substitution, especially in World Cup events where you're playing games every 3 days and 4 days rather than have 2 substitutions.
When you look at the 2 semi-final matches, which went 90 minutes and then another 30 minutes of extra time, so that's 120 minutes where you're going and you have to pace yourself accordingly. And certainly a star like Diego Maradona, who's been on the limp for the last couple of weeks, it does not help him. The only fortunate thing was that the breaks that Argentina has had is what has created it, kept him in it. Frank Kuznik with the ball. And a misfire on there. I think it appears Nickel City went too soon, and Adria will...
Well, it's an indirect. I think it's indirect. I don't see the arm up, but if it was indirect, then the player has to move the ball, at least the rotation of the ball.
Mike Svalina, and Croatia loses control but gains it back. It's back over to Svalina on the far side. Svalina with it. It's chipped forward by Frank Kuznik just past that far post, and the ball is over the end line, and I believe, yes, it will be Croatia Adria with the corner kick. And
I think on that play the goalie did touch it slightly enough to put it past the post.
As it appears, number 17, Steve Katchen, is shaken up momentarily. He's wandering around a bit groggily as Coach Frank Melvaso makes his way out to see if he's all right. It appears as though an inadvertent boot might have gotten into an area it shouldn't have, and he's feeling the effects of it at this point. Appears that he is all right, and we will get back to live action soon. Kresho-Severnak is setting up for the corner kick for Croatia Adria. Play is whistled in. Severnak sends it into the middle. Over everybody's head, a little too much bend on that. Hayes tried to control it, but he puts in the touch, and as a result, it'll be the throw-in for Croatia Adria. Nice throw-in from Frank Kuznik. Kresho-Severnak just couldn't get his head upon it, and the ball is sent forward. Tony Orser with it, sends it in the middle. Nagian is marked by number 19, Nick Pavlik. It's over to Joey Hayes. Hayes with the ball now in the middle. Hayes doing a good job of dribbling. Nagian with it. Nagian going down that left side with Mike Svalina on him. Svalina sends it, saves it from going into touch, but it goes back in the middle to Hayes. Hayes loses it. Salem coming back with it. Salem coming down. Lots of room to create something. He sends it forward. Kresho Severnak is going in for the attempt on goal. A little too far. He heels it back, looking for Frank Kuznik. Kuznik sliding in, gets his foot on the ball. Brownlee with the nice save and the stumbling takeout of Kuznik, and Nickel City gets out. But it looks like Brownlee was a little shaken up on that as the ball is saved from touch by Adria. Svalina with it. Kresho Severnak is standing out of bounds until he can come in without being offside. So a heads-up play by Kresho there, because he was definitely caught in behind. And essentially they were playing 10 on 11 there, but it's saved an offside as the ball goes into touch off of Tony Orser, and Nickel City will have the throw-in. Giroux throwing into the middle. Grassi with it. Grassi sending it forward. Looking for Detilio. Detilio with it. Detilio with a nice move there. Still maintains control. Detilio still gives it up to Hayes. Hayes sends it in the middle, and it's headed out by Kresho Severnak. Sent up by Ian Fricker. Fricker's pass was picked up by number 8, Dallas Detilio, and his shot went in behind the net. But that's the first flurry I've really seen from Nickel City since early in the game.
You're right there, John. Basically, Croatia has had control of the first half, and very seldom that Nickel City has come up past their midfield. But the odd time that they do have come up, they've had chances to score. So anything can happen.
We're about 35-40 minutes into the first half. Senior men's soccer here on Cable 7, your community sports channel. Mauricio Pressot sends it forward for Croatia Adria. Frank Kuznik flicks it ahead, but it's knocked out of harm's way by Fricker. Giroux trying to get a hold of that, but he ends up on his back. It's lost. Melvaso sends it forward. Pressot now with it. Pressot sends it forward for Croatia Adria, but it's headed right back. Salem heads it back to Giroux. Giroux picks up for Nickel City. Giroux stumbled on the more than inadequate turf, I should say, here at Queens Athletic Field. I believe the foul is called there on Danny Giroux. He's being talked to by the referee.
I think Mr. Gallix should start getting a little tougher, because they're tripping people after the play.
Certainly no need for that, and the ball sent forward by Pressot. Pressot to Garg, but Garg can't handle it. That is correct, and the ball goes into touch, and Nickel City will take over. Actually, it's turning out to be not too bad an evening this evening with the clouds overhead, but they haven't come down on what has been a hot and humid day here in Sudbury. Garg sending it forward, but Fricker picks it off. Back comes Frank Kuznik. A misfire by Nickel City as it goes back into their zone, and Brownlee with it. Brownlee being watched by Zvonko Vukovic. And Brownlee sends it forward. Mike Svalina gets a piece of that. It's headed forward. Frank Kuznik with the ball, looking for an open man there. Amit Garg coming in full blast, but he can't get to the ball, as Mark Barrett had it. Danny Giroux with the ball, fighting with Garg for it. Garg is knocked down by Barrett, but play goes on. Kresho Severnak with the ball over to Mike Svalina. Svalina to Garg. Garg rolls it in. Obviously a situation there where maybe Garg should put a little more leather on that ball and put it towards the net.
He should have definitely had a first-time shot on that particular situation. Once you get in front of the net, there's no use passing it off to a better position players. Have a chance and go for it.
Nagian got his boots up dangerously, I believe, there, and that's why referee Tony Gallick whistled it dead. And as a result, Croatia Adria has the indirect. Brent Salem Going to try to start it off as he chips it forward for Severnak. No one's there as Orser came up from his back line position. And Melvaso has the ball now. He's battling out with Brent Salem. Salem ends up getting a position in front of him, and Salem sends it back to keeper Dave Ledger. Also, another thing about some of the players on this Croatia-Adria team, Mike Svalina, Krešo Severnak, Zvonko Vukovic, all backbones on the St. Charles College Cardinals City High School and NASA High School championship teams that advanced down to the All-Ontario playoffs in Mississauga, did quite respectable, getting to the quarterfinals. And a whistle on the foul there, and as a result, Croatia-Adria will... correction on that, Nickel City will have the free kick.
John, the fact that some of these players are able to play together at different levels, I think, helps out on the way the team is playing here tonight.
Pressad tries to head the ball out Trouble's way, but he can't. Titilio with the ball into the middle. Number 7, Emil Melvaso with the goal on the pass from number 8, Dallas Titilio. And I think it's a case of what we've seen in Italy. The team that has dominated so far did not score first. Croatia-Adria carrying the play, and at approximately about the 40-42 minute mark, Nickel City breaks on the scoreboard first. Emil Melvaso from Dallas Titilio. A nice play there.
It was. The man was in front of the net. He didn't control it. He played it first time, and he caught the keeper flat-footed. And that's basically what you have to do. When you're in front of the net, don't be afraid to score. We have to, for Canada to develop, a world-class team, we have to develop the goal scorer. That's basically what Canada doesn't have.
And also, I think we could say safely the Americans, who, while they did score 2 goals at the World Cup, certainly did not look that good offensively in the preliminary rounds of the tournament. Ian Fricker miscues on that. Krešo Severnak comes up for the ball. Brownlee comes out of his net and gets the ball. Ian Fricker protecting his keeper, and I think we're going to see some bookings here, definitely. Krešo Severnak fighting for the ball, and I believe number 5, Krešo Severnak, and number 18, Krešo Severnak, has shown a card, and Ian Fricker, number 18, they are both gone as a result of their actions there. And really, when you look at it, one action led to the other. And I think Mr. Fricker had better watch himself. He may give himself additional situations, as keeper Aaron Brownlee's down on the field right now, kind of shaking his head, trying to get the cobwebs out.
I didn't quite catch exactly what happened between Krešo Severnak and the goalkeeper, but it looked like it was just normal run of the play, where Krešo did have the ball under control, and the keeper went in and might have hit his head, or and basically I guess the defensive player took exception to that, and he pushed the player away.
As a result, both teams will now play 10 aside. And that's a big, I think it's a big loss either way when you look at it. Ian Fricker's played pretty solid on that back line so far for Nickel City, but Krešo Severnak is definitely a leader on this Croatia-Adria team, so they might feel his loss when it comes down to crunch time, and the fact that they're down 1-0 at this point.
The fact that both teams are playing shorthanded is going to make a difference. It could also open up the play, because Queens Athletic Field being such a narrow field, one less player on the field, it might make for a more exciting game.
Number 11, Joey Hayes, taking exception to the linesman helping out referee Tony Gallick there. Receives a verbal warning, nothing more, and Mike Svalina will send the ball forward for Croatia-Adria. It's sent forward. Vukovic tried to get his head in there. He couldn't quite, as the keeper, Aaron Brownlee, did a very good job. And as a result, the ball will go to the corner for Croatia-Adria. I believe it's their 4th corner kick coming up. And also, Adrian Beljo, I believe it. Belso or Beljo, I'm not sure.
I think it's pronounced Beljo.
Okay, Adrian, I do apologize to you, but that's just the way it's written on our lineup sheet here, so we've corrected that now. And Orser sends that ball screaming over the post, but there's another situation. The corner kicks that have been performed so far for Croatia Adria were performed by Krešo Severnak. Now he's out of the match, and as a result, Beljo's back there doing it. So someone different, probably not something they're quite used to, and may alter things a bit for Croatia Adria. I think we're into extra time right now at this point. The match started on time to my knowledge anyways, and we should be approaching the end of the first half here. Right now it's the Nickel City Lasers 1, Croatia Adria 0, senior men's soccer here on Cable 7. The ball's out on the far side for Nickel City, send in the middle. And just as I spoke, we're at halftime. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The score at the half, Nickel City 1, Croatia Adria no score. We'll be back in a moment with the second half. Welcome back to the second half of senior men's soccer here on Cable 7. Nickel City Lasers are up 1-0 at halftime, but we're going tennis-side right now as Krešo Severnak and Ian Fricker both showing the red card about the 40th minute of the first half, and as a result should open things up a bit. Definitely, I think, for Mario, it was a case of Croatia dominating the play but not finishing any chances. Nickel City got a chance, put it in the net, and they're up 1-0.
Well, same situation as Brazil-Argentina. Brazil dominated for 90 minutes. Brazil had one chance, and they scored the winning goal.
But I still think Argentina is going to be in for a rough time this Sunday as they have 4 gentlemen sitting out on accumulated cards.
Well, I hope, I think West Germany will be my favorite now for the World Cup.
Well, certainly I think that would probably be an opinion shared by a great number of people, given the fact that Argentina has those 4 gentlemen out on cards. But you must remember that Cameroon, with 3 gentlemen out on cards, gave England all they could handle in the quarterfinals.
Well, I think basically also this is the same final as in '86, Argentina, West Germany, and I think maybe the West Germans are going to be looking for a little bit of revenge, you know.
Definitely.
For that loss.
Actually, West Germany's 3rd straight trip to the finals, as they also lost to Italy in 1982. Beljo with the ball over to Garg. Garg with it on that left side, sends it forward looking for Vukovic. Vukovic gets back in. Vukovic fighting for it. And the foul is called against Croatia Adria, and the ball will be turned over to the Nickel City Lasers. Ball sent back to the keeper. He'll send it forward. Brownlee's come up with a couple key saves in that first half. He's played pretty well. Also had his bell rung a couple of times too.
Well, you know, he's been there when he had to make the save. You know, they weren't very difficult, but he made them.
Number 14, Mike Budarak, is in for Croatia Adria now. He's on that defensive line. And the ball sent forward by Adria. Vukovic looking to get in there. Vukovic gets in there and scores. Vanko Vukovic on, I believe, a misplay, I think you have to call it, from Steve Simon. I think Simon thought that there was a bit more room there, that he could send the ball back to the keeper. As a result, number 9, Vanko Vukovic, sped in there and put the ball past the keeper, who was coming out to meet the ball.
I think what happened there, Johnny, miskicked it because the ball didn't pick up any speed after he hit it at all, and it gave room for Vukovic to get in there and have a strike at the net.
So early here in the second half, about 4 or 5 minutes in, we're tied at 1-1. The goal for Croatia Adria, number 9's Vanko Vukovic, on the misplay by Nickel City, and we're all tied. Of course, there's one thing people will be relieved of tonight. We won't have to go to extra time or kicks.
That's definitely the case here.
As the ball's brought forward by number 5, Mark Barrett, he loses it, goes back. Hayes with it for Nickel City, back over to Barrett. Barrett sends it up into touch, and as a result, Croatia Adria will make the throw-in. Of course, there'll be lots of senior men's soccer action over the course of the summer. And we will be on a couple more times this summer from what I understand, Mario. So stay around, to keep your dial tuned to TV7 for local soccer action. Brent Salem on the throw-in for Croatia Adria. Sends it forward looking for Frank Kuznik. Kuznik flicks it forward. Zvonko Vukovic gets up with it. Keeps it on the ground. It's sent in. Number 8, Adrian Beljo with the ball. But the flag was up on the offside there. But a good play by Vukovic, keeping that ball along the ground and letting someone run to it.
Offside? I don't think that was offside, John.
I don't think so either. I know
kick.
The flag was up, but we're just not quite sure why.
I think he signaled
the goal kick. Number 9, Mario Grassi with the ball on the goal kick for Nickel City. He sends it forward. It's headed back into the area. Simon sends it forward. It's sent back by Pressot. Hayes with it now. Svalina with it. And it's sent forward by Pavlik. Pavlik looking up. Barrett ends up with it. Now Detilio with it. Goes in the middle. Giroux now has it. He's battling with Beljo. Beljo ends up with it. It's sent forward as Mike Svalina gets it. Sends over that far side looking for Frank Kuznik. He doesn't pick it up. Hayes has it for Nickel City into the middle to Giroux. Giroux with it now. Giroux coming down that middle. Number 18, Brent Salem with the obvious foul there. Trying to look innocent, but I think he's going to get the card.
Well, I think it was about time, because the guys, it's not that they're real, vicious tackles, but it's enough to trip up the player, and on the fall somebody could seriously get hurt. So I'm glad that he started pulling out that yellow card.
And on this pitch here at Queens Athletic Field, it's not too hard to get hurt. Of course, the Sudbury Soccer Association, not the only organization that's displeased with it, also the Sudbury Spartans high school football. Certainly when you look at the condition of this field here in early July, and actually it's been this way for a couple of weeks now, we can only imagine what it's going to be like down the road in the fall. It's not going to be a pretty sight.
Well, from what I understand, that they're supposed to resurface it in October sometime.
Well, that wouldn't be a big surprise. However, high school football goes well into past October, and I know the fact that I don't believe Cambrian's field is being used at the present time at all, because they're letting it sit to regenerate a bit. So obviously improvements have to be made to this field, because it is the showcase field for the city, and certainly when people come into town, they're not too impressed, I don't think. Mike Svalina with the ball now for Adria. He's got a little room. Dorr came back and stripped him of the ball. It's sent back into that middle area. Giroux with it now. 5 attackers for Nickel City as Melvasso gets forward there. Pressot's coming up to mark him. Melvasso and Pressot fighting for that ball, and Melvasso put it a little too far forward, and he realized that. He wasted a pretty solid opportunity. Croatia Adria will have the goal kick. But I guess, Mario, what will be interesting is how the city implements the leisure plan that came from the leisure study headed by Dick DiStefano. I know the Soccer Association made their presentation and feelings felt. I haven't seen the full text of that report yet, but I'm quite sure that field usage was one of the main topics in that.
Well, I think basically they've said that soccer has enough fields and they're not being utilized enough. I think if you utilize them anymore, you won't have any pitch to play on. It'll probably end up being like Queens Athletic Field is at this particular time.
Which is basically a pasture.
At this moment.
It looks like the cows have grazed in the center field area, and for that matter in the north end goal as well, and the south end goal is not looking much better at this time. Dorr with the ball on the far side, chips it in. Dave Ledger with the solid save there. He sends it forward to Amit Garg. Garg with it, sending it down the sideline to Vukovic. Vukovic almost lost control there. He sends it in the middle, looking for Frank Kuznik. Kuznik sends it over to Beljo. Beljo with it, looking for a little room, still playing with it. Giroux's marking him. Beljo sends over that side to Garg. Garg with it now. And it's chipped out. It was correction. It's still in touch as Garg and Datilio battle for it. It's back to Garg. Garg forward to Zvonko Vukovic. And I think he realized as soon as he sprung himself free that the flag was coming up. Weather's still holding here tonight. It's certainly warm and a bit muggy tonight, but the rain hasn't threatened, and it looks like we may get through this match all right. Kuznik with the ball now for Adria. Chips it forward, looking for Vukovic. He can't do much with it as it comes back. Giroux sends it down the middle. Salem with it. Salem and Dorr. Dorr can't get it off of him. Salem still with it, sends it over to Beljo. Beljo over to Kuznik. Kuznik chips it forward, looking for Beljo. Beljo going in after it. And number 17, Steve Katchen, sends it into touch. I think it will be a throw-in. It didn't go over the end line, so it will be a throw-in. Mike Svalina with it. Svalina throws it in. Frank Kuznik with it. Kuznik under control. Bit of a scissor kick there, but it was over the line, and the goal kick for the Nickel City Lasers. Right now, both teams have had equal opportunities here in the second half. Of course, I don't know if you could really call the goal that Adria scored a solid chance, but nonetheless, it went in the net, so the ball's going to go back to Dave Ledger on the play. Pressot doing a good job of screaming Melvaso out of there, so something that happened to Adria, or correction, to Nickel City, wouldn't happen to Adria. Vukovic flicks it forward. That's hard if you say that fast. And a little miscue there by Brent Salem as Melvaso goes, and Melvaso weakly sends it into the keeper. Pavlik with it now. Pavlik sending up the side. Too far for Garg. Barrett with it, correction out, Danny Giroux with it, but he loses it to Mike Svalina. Svalina picks his pockets. Svalina now looking for a little help. Heels it into the middle to Beljo. Beljo sends it over to Garg. Garg loses control of it. Datilio with it, now Hayes. Hayes sending it down the side, but Pavlik sends it forward, and it will go into touch, and Nickel City on the throw-in. Danny Giroux with the ball now. Goes into touch off of him. Croatia Adria will throw it in. Of course, the senior men's season goes on all summer, concluding in early September. And by that time comes around, Coach Greg Zorbis and the Laurentian Soccer Vs are going to get their season underway, defending that Ontario championship that they won last year, also on penalty kicks. Penalty kicks seem to be common around here these days.
The thing is, you know, if the teams are well balanced, usually ends up going to the, you know, to the final minute.
Certainly was today, and so far we're tied here 1-1. Melvaso and Pressot going after that ball. Dave Ledger ends up with it, and Ledger will prepare to hoof it away. Ledger sends into the middle. Giroux heads it forward. Salem controls it. Salem playing with it. Nice play by Salem over to Frank Kuznik. Kuznik sends it forward, looking for Vukovic. The flag is up. Offside. That's got to be about the 4th or 5th time out of approximately 9 times that Croatia have been called for offside. Vukovic going after that long ball has been caught. Datilio with the ball. It's headed back to his area. Simon sends it forward. Off of number 11, Joey Hayes. Salem wisely turns away from the keeper because there are a couple of Nickel City Lasers there. The misplay, and Pressot sends it back to Ledger. Ledger sends it back out to Salem. Salem moving, looking to set something up. Salem over to Garg. Garg to Pavlik. Pavlik plays it off of Datilio's back and into touch. Pavlik on the throw-in, looking for Svalina. Svalina with it, sends it forward. It's headed back into that center area. Datilio with it. Pavlik sends it back again as Grassi tries to get something going. Vukovic with it. Vukovic and Grassi. Grassi ends up with it and keeps it in play and sends it down. Nice play by number 9, Mario Grassi. Press it with it. Over the far side, looking for Pavlik. Pavlik moving down that right side, the far side. Battling with Hayes. Pavlik sends it forward. And Barrett ends up with it. Barrett quickly sends it back to the keeper, Brownlee. Kind of a boring stage of the match, I think.
I think at this point, basically what's happening is they're just playing it in the midfield, hoping for a break.
Belgium gets a hold of that ball, but the weak shot on net is handled easily by Brownlee. Certainly, you know, I think this part of the match has been characterized by lack of scoring chances, as Belgio has it. Belgio's battling with Grassi. Grassi getting his legs in there, but he can't get the ball. Belgio now with it, gets past Hayes. Belgio gets free, sends it to the far side to Svalina. Svalina sends it forward, and Brownlee handles that acute angle shot rather easily.
I think basically Adria, they have to move the ball around. I think they do have the skill to be able to do that, and if they do it, they'll get the chances.
As the ball's headed over, Mike Svalina ends up with it. Svalina with it. Svalina now sending it back to Salem. Salem back to Svalina. Svalina with it. It's misplayed, but fortunate it went off of Hayes' foot for Adria, and they'll put it back into play on the throw-in. Frank Kuznik with it. Kuznik. And the foul on number 11, Joey Hayes, and the free kick for Adria in the Nickel City zone. They'll set something up here. Brent Salem will affect that chore. Getting advice from the bench on where he might place that ball as he sends it high and wide.
I think he was going for 3 points there.
Well, if he was way out. But he would have gotten the single point in this non-regulation football end zone. It bounced in before it went out. So we'll give him a single point on that in the football game. So Croatia Adria will have the goal kick. And we have a substitution now for Nickel City. Number 23, Min Nagian, will come back in.
And the U.S. Congress.
He replaces number 16, Michael Dorr. And also a substitution for Croatia Adria. Number 17, Amit Gard, comes out. And number 12, Joe Snoffel, enters the match. Danny Giroux with the ball now for Nickel City. He loses it to Pavlik. Pavlik with it for Adria. In the middle to Belgio. Belgio to Frank Kuznik. Kuznik gets stripped of it, but he gains it back and loses it again. Ball sent forward. Nagian trying to make the play on it. Grassi makes it instead. Pavlik sends it forward to Svalina. Svalina flicks it. Nothing comes of that. Pavlik ends up with it again. Over to Belgio. Belgio in the middle to Svalina. Svalina moving in that middle area. Datilio running under it now for Nickel City. Past Pavlik. Two men breaking in for Nickel City, Malvaso and Datilio. Datilio with the shot through the keeper's arms. Number 8, Dallas Datilio from Frank Malvaso. That same combination teamed up on the first Nickel City goal. And I think you could honestly say that keeper Dave Ledger definitely misplayed that one.
He definitely had fallen asleep on that one. The ball was basically right at him. He had the angle on it. All he had to do was put his hands down. I guess they didn't go far enough.
Approximately the 35th to 39th minute. We didn't get an accurate start on the second half, but certainly it's well in, and it's 2-1 Nickel City. Once again, the combination of Dallas Datilio and Emil Malvaso. This time Datilio ended up finishing up. It's 2-1 Nickel City.
Let's not take away from the fact that there was a nice combination, nice play all around before the goal was actually scored.
Definitely good teamwork there. As Croatia Adria came storming back, Kuznik with the cross over to Zvonko Vukovic. Certainly that's something that Adria looks to take advantage of. Vukovic a solid 6'6", 6'7", but he couldn't make anything out of that. As Frank Kuznik sends it over to Beljo. Beljo loses it to Kachin. Kachin with it up to Danny Giroux. Giroux is marked by Budarak. Budarak loses it again, and Milvaso ends up with it, sends it across. Pavlik now over to Svalina. Svalina chipping it in, picked off by Joey Hayes, and Hayes will let it go into touch out of harm's way, and Croatia Adria will try to start her up again. Frank Kuznik with the throw-in. Interesting enough, Frank Kuznik during the winter still continuing his studies at Laurentian University, but he plays hockey over there rather than soccer.
Well, the thing is, they play enough games. You don't want to end up doing the same thing for 12 months of the year. Actually, it's probably a good conditioning program for him for the hockey season.
And right now, he's working for the city for the summer. The foul's called there. I'm not sure if it's in the box. Yelling on from both benches, and it looks like it's going to be an indirect, I believe, Mario.
My opinion, that was definitely a foul in the box, not an obstruction, which would be considered an indirect, but definitely a direct, and it should have been a penalty shot.
Brent Salem up questioning right now. I think there's a question from actually the Croatia Adria bench. They're not too happy with the call, but nonetheless the decision stands, and it will be an indirect for Croatia Adria within the box. Frank Kuznik, Brent Salem around the ball. A set play that they've obviously worked on, as I said, in practice before, and Kuznik sails it over the bar.
Kuznik didn't know the referee signaled for an indirect from inside the box, so what's the use of shooting it directly at net? Even if he would have scored, it wouldn't have counted anyway.
And there you go, as Frank Kuznik comes over for a little refreshment. Frank's a solid two-way forward, works hard with the Laurentian Voyageurs Hockey Club, and obviously putting in a pretty solid two-way game here tonight on that wing position. For
it definitely is, but on that particular play, he should have watched for the. I mean, we can't fault him. It's been done twice in the World Cup already by professional players. So
whether it be the amateurs of Sudbury or the professionals in Italy, the game remains the same. As the ball goes into touch, and Croatia Adria will have the throw-in. So you definitely have to go with West Germany then on Sunday.
I predict 2-0 score for West Germany.
2-0? I'll even agree with you for that one. How's that? As a result, the ball goes in towards Brownlee. Brownlee comes out and plays that easily. I'll put you on the spot again. Italy and England for the third place game.
Probably be a 1-0 game, hopefully for Italy. It could go either way.
Could go either way. Definitely both teams, I imagine, disappointed. And the flag is up, number 12.
Yeah, but let's not forget, you know, both teams were won that third place, not only for the prestige of finishing third, but also for the fact that there's money involved here.
There you go.
You know, I don't know what the difference is, but it's considerable between the third and fourth place.
Definitely. Certainly FIFA doesn't hurt for money when it comes to World Cup time.
Well, from looking at the Italian papers that I've been reading, the price of some of those tickets are exorbitant. I think on that semifinal game in Naples, a lot of the scalpers were asking $1,000 for a ticket. So,
and probably got it too. Nagian with the ball now for Croatia Adria. Nagian with a correction for Nickel City. Nagian sends it over wide for Milvaso. Milvaso sends it over. And number 4, Prasad, I believe inadvertently, as much as he liked to take it back, touched that with his hand. The linesman put up his flag, and as a result, we have an indirect just outside the box for the Nickel City Lasers. They're up 2-1 here on Senior Soccer on Cable 7.
Yeah, in this particular particular situation, if they want to shoot directly on net, they can, because it was a handball. Handball is a direct shot.
Yeah. Kachin loses the ball, and the ball sent forward by Adria. Adria breaking out here, 4 men. Frank Kuznik on the near side. Kuznik with it. Nice sliding tackle by number 9, Mario Grassi there as he put it into touch. It's back into Belgio. Belgio right back to Svalina. Svalina with it. Back to Brent Salem. Salem looking to set something up. He's sending it across there, but it didn't quite get where he wanted it as Vukovic sends it up. Barrett with it now for Nickel City. It's sent into that middle area. Brownlee almost mugged Steve Simon on that one. Brent Salem with it now. Salem with the ball. Over to Svalina. Svalina off the back of Giroux and off the stomach area of referee Gallic. Brent Salem with it. Salem toying with 2 defenders right now. Nice move by Brent Salem to get free. Salem still being harassed effectively by Joey Hayes, but he loses the ball anyways. Grassi has it. I think Mr. Grassi is going to be called for the foul there. I'm not sure if he's going to get booked or not. Foul, no book.
He's a little lax.
It'll be a free kick for Croatia Adria. They're down 2-1 right now. I'd approximate around 10-15 minutes left in in the game, because as I mentioned, we don't have to go the extra time or the kicks here. Pressot with this kick for Adria, sends it forward looking for Vukovic. Vukovic gets a little bit on it, but not quite enough. But certainly have to give Adria a little credit. They're looking for that big man in the middle. If you got him, you might as well use him.
Well, I don't know. It's always been my belief that most teams, playing with a sweeper like both of these teams are, the middle is always strong. No matter how good a player he is or, how tall, it's very, very hard to go up the middle. I mean, the few times that Croatia has done it, put the ball to the outside and bringing it back from the wings into the middle, they've been dangerous, and they've stopped doing it. They're throwing the ball up the middle all the time. And basically with 2 guys back there, it's making it that much easier for the Nickel City Racers.
Pressot will perform the throw-in for Croatia, sending it back to Dave Ledger. Ledger throws it up, back to Pavlik. Pavlik with it, moving down, has a bit of room to work with. He chips it forward, looking for Kuznik or Vukovic. Neither one of them gets it, as Dallas Detilio sends it back in. Pavlik sends it right back, and the flag goes up again, offside.
Same thing again, they're throwing it up the middle, and the Nickel City Racers are throwing it back out.
Certainly with a 2-1 lead at this point, I think that's all you can really expect from Nickel City.
Well, definitely they're doing whatever they can to conclude the game at the 2-1 score. But the Croatian nation is making it that much easier for them by throwing the ball up the middle.
Kachin sends it up the far sideline for Hayes. Hayes keeps it in bounds. Hayes working it in the middle to Giroux. Giroux's got Milvasso and Hayes with him. And it goes forward, and this time Milvasso is offside for Nickel City. Certainly an easy thing to happen when you look at it, I guess. As Pavlik sends it over to Belgio. Belgio with it. Are we playing ping pong offsides here right now, Mario? I think we've seen about 4 or 5 flags in the last 2 minutes.
There's a lot of the younger players that make the same mistakes. Whenever the ball has been brought up by the midfielders, they're all running forward. I mean, they should be running across the field, waiting for the ball to be played before they sprint forward. And if you notice, that's happened almost on every play. The players are sprinting forward instead of diagonally.
As a result, Nickel City will send it forward. Pressot with it. He heads it. It can't be controlled by Brent Salem. Milvasso loses sight of it. Pressot sends it over to Snoffel. Snoffel with it. He loses it to Barrett. Barrett now with it. Snoffel with the attempted tackle doesn't happen. Giroux has it. Giroux now dribbling down that middle area with Salem. Giroux and Salem battling for it. And I don't think, it definitely appears like Danny Giroux got called on that foul.
Oh, it was definitely. I mean, the man had the inside on him, and they tried to take him down.
Frank Kuznik almost in the clear there. He was onside. Ball picked up in the midfield area by Adria. Sent over to Pavlik. Pavlik now looking down that far side. In the middle to Beljo. Beljo with it over to Snoffel. Beljo back with it now. Vukovic looking back to Beljo. Beljo moving down that side. It's into touch. Croatia Adria will have it deep inside the Nickel City area. Interestingly, reading the Sports Illustrated I received today in the mail, Cameroon had 115 fouls called against them before their quarterfinal match against England. Just shows you how aggressive some of those teams are over at the World Cup. And Cameroon, by way of note, was definitely the most fouled, penalized team in that regard. Frank Kuznik breaks in. Kuznik, the nice chip, and Frank Kuznik with the goal to bring Croatia Adria even here. A good hustle play there by Frank Kuznik.
And if you notice on that play, the ball came from the outside across the field of play for a break from the outside player, rather than straight up the middle.
Which is something that Croatia Adria had not done much of at all tonight.
Well, the few times that they have done it, they've either scored or come very close to it.
Number 16, Michael Dorr, is going to come back into the game. He replaces Emil Melvaso. Emil's had a good game tonight with a goal and an assist for Nickel City. That goal came at approximately, as I said, approximately the 35 to 40 minute mark, and we're tied 2-2 here in the second half. Beljo sends it over to Snoffel. Snoffel in the middle again for Vukovic. Joey Hayes comes up with it for Nickel City. Hayes and Snoffel are battling for it. Detilio can't do much there. As Snoffel comes back with it, Vukovic loses it to Grassi. Grassi with it, he loses it to Pavlik. Back to Beljo. Beljo and Grassi battling for it. As Pressot came over and cleared it out of harm's way, makes Nickel City starter all over again. So it's 2-2 here. Croatia Adria and the Nickel City Lasers. Senior soccer action on Cable 7. And a violation on the throw-in there. You've always got to release that thing above your head on that, if I'm not mistaken, Mario.
You have to really follow through as well. A lot of the players are releasing the ball and then not following through.
Ball goes into touch, and the Nickel City Lasers will throw it in. Giroux heads it forward, looking for Detilio. Cleared out by Pressot. Frank Kuznik looking for it. Kuznik and Kachin going after the ball. Kachin gets called for the foul. And Croatia Adria is going to look to add to it. And I believe it will be an indirect, Mario?
I think it's the direct. Oh, I guess it is an indirect. No, he doesn't have his arm up. I guess it's direct.
Not quite sure.
For how long?
Frank Kuznik blasts the ball off the wall. Kuznik with it. And it goes into touch. And it will be Croatia Adria's ball on the throw-in. Ball's thrown in. Mike Svalina with it. Svalina looking back over for Budarak. Budarak with it. He sends it over the net, and it will be a goal kick. We have a substitution here for Croatia Adria. Number 22, George Carlos, is going to come back in. Looks like Svanko, oh no. He'll replace number 12, Joe Snoffel, who was in for a while. Carlos has gotten his rest, and he'll be coming back into the match for Croatia Adria as the ball's put into play. Barrett with it up on that far sideline. Barrett with it, sending it over. Salem comes up. Carlos with it now. Carlos and Barrett battle for it. Beljo with it. Beljo sending it forward. I think Vukovic wasn't quite sure what was happening there, whether he was onside or not.
The thing is, he was moving forward, and somebody started yelling at him to watch the offside, and he held up, and the ball went forward.
He almost become gun shy in that regard, as Grassi sends it over. Joey Hayes can't keep it in touch, and it goes out of touch, and Croatia Adria will have the throw-in. As I mentioned earlier, Ontario Cup action, a lot of it here in Sudbury. The under-13 team will play at Lily Creek at 12 noon on Saturday.
Well, you should mention that's Northern Insurance,
Northern Insurance,
13,
okay, thank you.
And DAP Construction and the under-14.
There you have it. So under-14 and under-13 teams in action, as well as Pat Mario's in the Senior Ontario Cup. They're at 12 noon here at Queen's Athletic Field on Saturday, July the 7th. If you're not doing much on that weekend, on Saturday, come on out and have a look. I've been asked to explain overtime, but we won't have overtime in this game because it is not a deciding match. It is a regular league match as Croatia Adria sends the ball out of harm's way. Of course, anyone who's been watching the World Cup knows that in the elimination round games, you have to have a winner. And also in the Senior Men's League, in the playoffs, you have to have a winner, so you play extra time. In the World Cup, it's 2 15-minute halves. I believe here in the Senior Men's League, it's only 2 10-minute halves. And you play the full time, regardless of how many goals are scored. Then you go to penalty kicks if a winner is not declared at that time. But definitely should the Ontario Cup game on Saturday, or any of those Ontario Cup games on Saturday,
right,
get to that, they will go to extra time and kicks if necessary, because they are elimination matches.
It's one game elimination. The winner advances, the loser goes home.
Beljo with the ball now in the area for Adria. Svalina fooling around with it, and it looks like we have a handball call. Mike Svalina pleading his case, and referee Tony Gallick went right to the spot. I think a little hesitation on his part there, but nonetheless the call is made, and Croatia Adria will have a kick from the spot. It appears that number 9, Svanko Vukovic, is going to make that kick. Vukovic one-on-one against Aaron Brownlee, the keeper. We're late in the match here. Vukovic with the ball, and it's in the net. Svanko Vukovic with his second goal of the game. Croatia Adria now leads 3-2. Nickel City is going to have to move a bit, as we're going to have a substitution now, I believe. Number 7, Emil Melvaso will come back into the match for Nickel City. As mentioned, it's 3-2, the Croatia Adria over the Nickel City Lasers. Dorr with the ball at the center mark, and Nickel City looking to get on even terms here. Not much time left. Ball sent over to Melvaso on that far side. Melvaso coming in on the attack. Melvaso sends into the middle, but no one's coming up for Nickel City. Joey Hayes has it, but he loses it. And Carlos sends it forward to Vukovic. Vukovic and Grassi battling for it. Vukovic sends it forward for Svalina. 5-on-4 right now for Croatia Adria. Svalina sends it forward, but it's off the back of Vukovic's heel. Dorr with it. He loses it to Pavlik. Hayes now chips it forward. Dorr with it, loses it to Brent Salem. Salem under a bit of control. Melvaso tries to get it, but Pressot sends it out of harm's way. Frank Kuznik trying to battle Kachin with it. Kachin now with it, sends it up. And Melvaso on the offside. I think that boot was of a little frustration.
Well, he's wasting his own time. They're losing the game, and he kicks the ball away. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Now he goes and gets it. Not a wise move on him.
Meanwhile, he's wasted a minute of the game's time.
The flag went up immediately from this near sideline, and as a result, Croatia Adria will put the ball into play on the free kick. Pressot sends it over to Pavlik. Pavlik with it. Pressot back into that middle area. Barrett comes up on the far side for Detilio. Detilio can't keep it into touch. I think the players are wondering how much time is left. It can't be that much. As Carlos picks it up, Carlos and Hayes battling for it. Rolls into touch to Nickel City. Nickel City looking a little agitated and pressing at this point. They're down 3-2, and the game should be over pretty soon. Ball's into Dorr. Dorr and Salem looking for it, and it's sent back to Dave Ledger. Well, certainly one nice thing about this game tonight, Mary, we've had lots of scoring.
Well, you know, the goals came. We had some nice goals. We had some, defensive mistakes, but that's what you want to see. You want to see goals.
Vukovic with the ball from Kuznik. Vukovic can't quite handle it, and Simon sends it forward. Mark Barrett with it. Barrett and Carlos looking for it. Sent over to the far side to Melvaso. He doesn't touch it. Adria with it. Kachin sends it forward for Nickel City, but Pressot ends up with it for Croatia Adria. He'll send it forward. Up to Frank Kuznik. Kuznik with it. I think there can't be much time left as Kuznik sends it forward. Simon heads it back. Kuznik plays it off of Hayes. Over to Carlos. Carlos with it. Carlos loses it to Barrett. Barrett coming down that far sideline. Barrett sent forward by Pavlik, picked up by Danny Giroux, off of Carlos and into touch. Nickel City will play on the throw-in. Coach Jimmy McPherson of Croatia Adria barking out instructions to his charges as Svalina sends it forward. Kuznik and Brownlee. A little confrontation there.
I think on both parts. The goalie there basically turned his back. There was no need for that. He had the ball. Definitely. And then the other guy tried to give him a little push. Doesn't take much to get something started. I mean, the guy should stick to playing soccer, and that's it.
Nice heel pass by Brent Salem, picked off by Dorr, sent into the middle where Pavlik sends it back over to Salem. Salem flicks it to Svalina, who sends it back. Salem was going to go back to the keeper there, but thought other of it. Sends it forward, and Grassi has it for Nickel City. It goes into touch.
That was definitely a dive. I mean, he wasn't touched that hard that he could have gone down with that severity.
Referee Tony Gallick with it. Svanko Vukovic is free again on another run. Vukovic coming in, comes into the middle, and Simon plays it off of him, and Croatia Adria will have it on the throw-in.
I think some of these guys have been watching the World Cup, and they're picking up the wrong things.
Definitely. Svalina with it now. Belgio with it in the middle, sending it forward for Vukovic. He plays it off of Grassi. It's sent forward by Kachin. Frank Kuznik with it off his chest. I think the arms are getting up a bit here as Belgio now has it. Over to Carlos. Carlos with it. Joey Hayes with it on that far side, keeps it in touch to Dallas Detilio. Detilio into the middle looking for Dorr. Dorr with it, gets by Salem, looking to get by Pressot. Dave Ledger gets a hand on it. Emil Melvaso can't get a hold of it, and Croatia Adria sends it out. A case where Dave Ledger didn't quite know how long his arm was, and it almost cost Croatia Adria's. Belgio trips over the ball. It's sent back in by Nickel City. Detilio comes in aggressively, and it's kept in the touch and over the press box. I think that might waste a little time as Nickel City definitely wants to get the ball back into play. Maybe that was a time-wasting tactic on Frank Kuznik's part. Who knows? I'm quite sure the referee will add on a little time for that one. As it comes in, Grassi with it on the throw-in, looking for Melvaso. Brent Salem ends up with it. Salem and Melvaso battle for it. Salem wins that one as Kuznik ends up with it. Kuznik sends it into touch.
I'll get the ball. Atta boy, Jimmy.
Jimmy McPherson gives it back to Nickel City so they can put it back into play. Catch in on the throw-in. Sends up, Melvaso heads it, but heads it the wrong direction. As a result, Adria will have the throw-in. 3-2, Croatia Adria over the Nickel City Lasers right now. Probably about 5-10 minutes ago, I mentioned it might be the end of the match, but I'm quite sure extra time, or we're pretty close to being that way. And the ball will be thrown in again by by Croatia Adria, as Salem throws it back to keeper Dave Ledger. Ledger dribbling forward. Sent forward by Ledger, but headed back by Nickel City. Door with it in the middle there. Sent out by Brent Salem. Catching with it. Catching into the middle. Melvaso looking to get under it, but it's safely back to Ojo. Not safely back to keeper Dave Ledger. Number 16, Michael Dorr, was bearing down in on him and made him hurry that play a bit.
Croatia almost made the same mistake that they caught Nickel City on early on for their second goal.
So Dave wisely booted into touch, and as a result, we will have a throw-in, I believe, for Nickel City. If it's not a throw-in, it will be a corner. Throw-in as mentioned. Melvaso with it into Datilio. Datilio with it. Datilio dribbling around in that box area. Sends it in the middle, but not on goal. And a bit of a shot by Grassi on net. Ledger had to handle it, and as a result, Ledger will play it forward for Croatia Adria. Throws it forward to Budaric. Budaric over to Svalina. Back to Brent Salem. Croatia Adria just taking their time to set up as they're looking for the win. Ball's headed forward and into touch off of Croatia Adria. Emil Melvaso will make the throw-in. Looking for number 16, Michael Dorr. He ends up with it. Back to Melvaso. Chips it back, but not to Michael Dorr as he would have liked. It went to Brent Salem instead, and he put into touch as Kachin throws it right back in. Salem heads into that middle area. Pavlik heads it out. Hayes with it. Salem, Giroux ends up with it. Giroux sends it in. Michael Dorr, he can't do anything with it. And it's sent over the end line. Nickel City couldn't believe their luck on that one. No one could get any leather on that ball. And as a result, they end up with a corner kick. Nickel City's kind of running out of chances, I think, Mario. They're pressing.
Well, they're pressing, and you know, the fact they either get the equalizer or maybe Croatia will score another one. But the thing is, you know, one way or another, they're going for it.
Ball's put into the middle, but headed out by Brent Salem. Datilio with it now for Adria, and the offside flag is up. Ball sent over to Pavlik. Pavlik for Adria. Sends it forward. Joey Hayes picks up in the middle. And there's the conclusion of your match. Your final score, Croatia Adria 3, the Nickel City Lasers 2. For Mario Anselmo, I'm John Metcalf. Thank you for joining us, and have a good evening.